At the start of 2020, I reviewed the first of two games in the short-lived Starfighter series of Star Wars games. Now, I want to talk about its follow-up, Jedi Starfighter, released in 2002 for the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox Classic, the latter of which will be the sole version I'm reviewing here. So as one would expect, Jedi Starfighter takes place during Attack of the Clones the same way the original Starfighter game takes place during The Phantom Menace. And as I said in my review for the prior game, the short-lived part of the series is very similar to the Rogue Squadron series of Star Wars games, with the only differences being a focus on the prequels, exception being Revenge of the Sith, and being multi-platform for consoles except for Nintendo, as the GameCube practically kept the latter series to itself since Rogue Leader. While Rogue Squadron was developed by Factor 5, the Starfighter games were developed by LucasArts and Secret Level. The story of the game has Jedi Knight Adi Gallia on a mission to fight off the Trade Federation and the Confederacy of Independent Systems, as well as their contract with an evil mercenary named Kavik Toth, developer of the deadly Hex missiles. Due to this, Adi must join forces with the space pirate Nim from the previous game to fend off the catastrophic weapons. Like with its prequel before it, it's simple, but it works. Gameplay-wise, it plays the same as the original Starfighter, in that it's an arcade-style aerial combat game that still plays very well. However, instead of the N1 Starfighter and the Guardian Mantis returning, only Nim's Havoc Bomber returns, with its blasters, ion cannons, self-replenishing plasma bombs, everything's here. With some new additions including two kinds of missiles from concussion to cruise to proximity mines. But now, as the title suggests, we now have control of the new Starfighter at the time, the Jedi Starfighter, which in this game is piloted by Adi Gallia. This version of the ship has no missiles, but for its secondary weaponry, it does allow the Jedi's use of the Force to use for varying reasons. From the Force Barrier, temporary defense, Force Lightning to take out a chain of smaller crafts, Force Speed or Reflex to slow time around you, and Force Shockwave to wipe out a ton of enemies within your radius. Alongside the two main crafts, you'll be able to unlock several others as cheats depending on how you beat various missions and all of their objectives from their primary to bonus and even hidden. Some but not all of the examples include the Slave 1, Reddy's own ship known as the Zoomer, and even the X-Wing and TIE Fighter, despite not being invented at this time of the Star Wars saga. Besides that, there is quite a bit of multiplayer content too, such as co-op and some versus-centric stages, making it pretty packed. Visually, it looks about the same as the original Starfighter, but on the Xbox One backwards compatibility function, the game looks very crisp whether you play it on a standard Xbox One or an Xbox One X in 1080p, which I sadly couldn't show when I recorded this footage due to the time limits with recording depending on what resolution I set it on. Still, when you get to it, it looks great. What I still don't like is that it's still a fairly short game like the last one, but I personally find that the extra content and hidden objectives in each mission give it a bit more replay value. Again, like the last one, but in this one I find it to be more interesting. Overall, Jedi Starfighter is a pretty damn good follow-up to the original Starfighter, and for me personally, one I had a bit more fun with. I definitely recommend picking up the Xbox version if you have any variation of the Xbox One due to the benefit of backwards compatibility, but it's worth hunting down if you have an older system that still works as well. Star Wars Jedi Starfighter deserves an 8 out of 10.